Hello. There's a lot of characters in Fnaf, almost as much times as Mr. Beast has been over. And while there are some great characters, some bad characters, some overhyped characters, most importantly, some overlooked characters. And that's what we will be talking about today's video. One of the best, most overlooked, most important characters in Five Nights at Freddy's, the Blob. And to fully understand him, we have to go all the way back into Sister Location. Sister Location contains 4 main animatronics, 5 if you're counting Bonbon. Those 4 are Funtime Foxy, Beloa, who we'll also be talking a little more about in the video, Funtime Freddy, and last but not least, the star of the show, which isn't Freddy, Circus Baby. The whole night you do what Fazbear Entertainment wants you to do, like fixing the animatronics and crawling through vents and fixing electrical. But on night 3, we don't hear much from Funtime Freddy. We also don't hear much from Funtime Foxy, and really all is going okay until the fortnight, where you get to see this happen. So from that clip, if you didn't notice, that means they've all been disassembled by a machine called the Scooper, I think. I think it also makes a comeback in Ruin, but it appears a little different. But that's not really important. What important is what happens to the parts after. All the parts from the different animatronics form together to make a creature called a Nod. So now a Nod is one animatronic mixed from 4. Until, I guess, they decided they didn't really want Circus Baby there. So they kicked her out, with Circus Baby having to find scraps of parts to become Scrap Baby, and Ennard now having to become Molten Freddy. I don't know why Molten Freddy's looking familiar. But after getting thrown into wherever Location Pizzeria Simulator takes place in, both of them try to attack the player. But towards the end, the place gets burned down. Which means, oh, well, is that the end? Is that the end of Molten Freddy and everything? How's that the law to Blob? Which is what most people think, but I think these two still have a connection. But we'll get back to Molten Freddy and all the other animatronics in a bit. Actually, in a couple of decades. Because we're moving on all the way to Security Breach, where we first see the Blob. So, in one of the endings of Security Breach, you find the original Pizzeria Simulator location, because it turns out the Pizzaplex is right above it, and of course, Hurricane. Now you might see where I'm going with this. But after all the Bone Trap stuff, which is just William Afton coming back 5th time, while running from Bone Trap while he's chasing you, the Blob comes and takes Bone Trap away, most likely killing him. Then Gregory and Glamrock Freddy run away. A lot of stuff just happened there, and it's very confusing as well. Is he a new animatronic? Because it looks to me like he has the Funtime Freddy face. Taking a closer look, there's a couple of animatronics here. The people you can visibly see in the Blob is Funtime Freddy, obviously, Bonnie, Chica, Mangle, Circus Baby, and
the puppet? I forgot to say the puppet!
But that's still pretty confusing. In Security Breach, decades and decades after the first couple of games, somehow most of the animatronics are all morphed into one. How would a Sister Location animatronic go back in time and collect Bonnie and Freddy and the puppet? Which I was thinking as well, until I came up with this theory. My theory is that after William Afton got spring-locked, the company would have been passed over to
Henry Emily? I forgot the company would have been passed on to Henry Emily.
And they probably just brought every single animatronic to their new places. So, those animatronics would be the Fnaf 1, 2, 5, and then of course the 6 ones are already there. Probably store them all somewhere we haven't seen. I guess some of them already moved on to other stuff, like the puppet who was now Lefty and Night Marionette, which could explain how there's so much animatronics in the Blob. It's basically every single animatronic we see that's not FNAF 3 and FNAF 4 because those were hallucinations. But still, there probably wasn't enough animatronics just in FNAF 1, 2, 5, and 6 for the Blob to be that big. Because Help 1 and Help 1 2 were a VR simulation, 3 and 4 were hallucinations. So how was it even that big? We know William Afton was obsessed with his work, maybe a little too much. So it won't make sense for him to spend all that time on just a bunch of animatronics. He probably had to make several and only pick a few. I mean, if you think about it, in FNAF 1, we see a bunch of prototype heads in the backstage office, and of course Endos. So my theory is that there's a bunch of different Endos and scrapped animatronics that didn't come to the stage with all the other animatronics brought here. And the main evidence that supports my theory is that in Help 1 and 2, we get introduced to a completely new character, Carney, which is most likely from Pizzeria Simulator because he's similar to designs to Rockstar Freddy and Lefty. But it's not like Fazbear Entertainment would just make a completely new character from the same section, unless he is from Pizzeria Simulator and was just backstage and never released or we've never seen yet. And also, there's probably a bunch of games we haven't seen from earlier than that that's going to have a bunch of animatronics that can also be added to the Blob. So that's probably enough theories to explain why he's that big. So then my theory is that after everything was burning down, he, Molten Freddy, collected all of the animatronics and it morphed into one. But how would he do that if the place was well burnt down? Another theory I have is that they're probably fireproof. Now, I know it sounds stupid, but if you think about it, again, as I said, William Afton was really hard working. So it makes sense to put, as Hand Unit says, state-of-the-art animatronics. I mean, in Security Breach, when you're fighting Roxanne, literally all of the damage is from Gregory's car, but none of it is from the fire she's just walking through. So it would make sense for him throughout the games to make fireproof animatronics, which is why Molten Freddy could have survived, but all the other animatronics seem a little bit beat up. But there's still a couple things wrong with my theory. I mean, why would he kill William Afton or it? I mean, if it's Molten Freddy, which is basically Funtime Freddy, why would he kill Bone Trap? I mean, if anything, you'd want to save him. Because most of the others are possessed by children who got killed by William Afton. But Funtime Freddy was just made, no soul in him. So why would he want to kill him? He has no feelings to be mad at him for him to try and kill Bone Trap. But if you look more into it, the puppet doesn't have tears, which is really suspicious because we know the tears are from when Charlie possesses her. Because before that, the puppet didn't have any tears. It was only after Charlie died and possessed her that she had tears. So why did they just fade away? Even Nightmare Annette had tears. Unless that means that the puppet's not possessed by Charlie. That would make a lot of sense. But then who does possess the Blob? I know this is a lot of theorizing, but what if I tell you the Blob is possessed by the endoskeleton? Yes, the endoskeleton from FNAF 1, 2, 3, whatever. I did a lot of research on it, and it actually makes a lot of sense for me to theorize this. Because what leads me to think this is that in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, one of the Easter eggs is that the endoskeleton in the backstage room, or whatever you call it, looks straight at you in the camera. With all of Scott's other Easter eggs, it actually makes sense. Like Golden Freddy is because actually it's canon. So it's only safe to assume that this had to be canon. Plus, in FNAF 2, he can be seen crawling in the vents. He can't kill you, but there's a frame or image where he's crawling in the vents. Is that saying that Toy Bonnie put him there? No, he's clearly possessed by somebody. And Yendo also in Sister Location. I haven't completed Sister Location, so maybe I don't know something. But I don't think we see anything about possessing or why he's really moving around. Unless they're all possessed by a sixth kid. I know my theories are really elite, but I thought really hard about it. And it would actually make a lot of sense for there to be a sixth kid. Now, hear me out. So we know there's 5 kids, Gabrielle, Cassidy, whatever. So people will just think that he only killed 5 because there's only 5 animatronics and 5 Nights at Freddy's 1 that possesses the suit. But we do know that William Afton does just like to kill children. And of course, him killing Charlie. Why would he even do that? I mean, that was just random acts of violence. So he didn't just do it for the original 5, we know he did it for more. So it makes sense for there to be a 6th kid. And she wouldn't have been stuffed in the suit, therefore she's not tied to just one animatronic. She is gone to Endo 01, Endo 02, Yendo, and in one of the audio logs at the end of Five Nights at Freddy's 6, Henry Emily says that the fires will free the spirits in all the animatronics, which would mean that the animatronics like the Blob is no longer possessed. But our 6th child here wouldn't have been there. So after she saw everyone burnt down there, but still, remember, I think it's fireproof, there's still animatronics would be fine, just a little beat up, but the spirits aren't there anymore, so no one's possessing them. Therefore, she starts breaking them apart and adding it to Molten Freddy, which she would possess until it comes the Blob. But yeah, hopefully the Blob has more relevancy in future games. I mean, he was in 2 out of the last 4 games. And this whole video was a big reach, especially the 6th child theory. But I think it could be really possible. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. Do you think it's too much of a reach? Or do you think not too many people look into the Blob? Thank you guys for watching so much. And I will see you guys next time. Hopefully.